Welcome to the mini-module of Protocols for Systematic Reviews. By the end of this mini-module, you should understand more about the importance of the protocol in a systematic review. You should be familiar with the content of the protocol for systematic review, and you should have a better understanding of where your expertise can help in the writing of a protocol for systematic review, and you should know where to go for further information on protocols for systematic reviews. This little cartoon sums up in a simple drawing the intent and purpose of a protocol. The two cats have a predefined written plan which shows clearly their aim and how they propose to go about it, i.e. catching the mouse. Indeed, the dictionary provides a couple of definitions for a protocol which pretty much state the same thing: a predefined written procedural method in the design and implementation of experiments, or a set of rules for the correct way to provide a medical treatment or do a scientific experiment. The word protocol derives from the Latin protocollum, literally standing for the first sheet of a volume, and this is exactly what a protocol for systematic review is. It is the first thing that is written. The systematic review protocol predefines the objectives and methods of the systematic review. This table is one that you may see feature in a number of modules of this course. It highlights the distinguishing features between a systematic review and more general literature reviews that are commonly found in the published literature. For the purposes of this module, I would like you to draw your attention to the line highlighted in yellow. This clearly shows one of the distinguishing features of a good systematic review, that the review is set out from the outset in an agreed protocol, preferably agreed amongst the whole review team, and as we will see later, that the protocol is also registered. But why do we need a protocol? Pause the slideshow here if you can, and take a few minutes to see if you can come up with some reasons as to why you might need a protocol for a review. What would it help? Okay, so hopefully you've had some thoughts yourself. So here are some reasons as to why protocols are needed. Firstly, the protocol serves as a roadmap for the review. It makes you and other members of the review team clear about your objectives and how you will meet them. For example, what are the specific inclusion criteria for the studies you are interested in, and what type of studies are you not interested in? It also acts as a communication tool, bringing the review team together to agree on the finer details of the review at the very start. And importantly, it acts as a reference point. As we will learn about later, making the decision about whether to include a study or not can be tricky, but having the agreed inclusion and exclusion criteria written down in a protocol makes this an easy place to refer back to and reminds you of the review's aims and objectives. Secondly, a protocol promotes transparency. You may remember that this is one of the key features of a systematic review. If the review's methods are defined explicitly at the start of the review team is less likely to be influenced by, for example, their knowledge of study authors or individual study findings, or perhaps any preconceived ideas about what they were going to find. Thirdly, a protocol allows peers to review what information will be extracted from included papers and what the plans are to summarize outcome data. This can encourage constructive criticism from other researchers and research users at a stage which is most likely to help improve the final review. And lastly, you need a protocol because it is simply recommended best practice. The Cochrane Collaboration, Campbell Collaboration, Centre for Research and Dissemination, and Joanna Briggs Institute all state clearly the need for a protocol to front-end a systematic review. So, what are the sorts of things you would expect to find in a protocol for a systematic review? Again, if you can, pause the video here and give yourself a few minutes to think about a list of items that you think should be found in the protocol. Think back to the various stages of the review that you heard about in the introduction module. Okay, you've had a few minutes to think. Hopefully you'll have mentioned some of the following: a title, a rationale for the review, research aims and objectives, search strategy, which search terms, databases and supplementary searching techniques are you going to use, screening inclusion and exclusion criteria, outcomes of interest, screening processes, data extraction, how you're going to critically appraise or look at the quality of the research studies, and plans for data analysis and synthesis, and lastly, any plans for dissemination. For detailed guidance on protocols, including what should be in them and why, have a look and read of the PRISMA P statement, first published in 2015. Once an agreed protocol has been written and approved by the team, recommended best practice is to register the protocol on one of a number of protocol registers. The most accessible register is Prospero, the international database of prospectively registered systematic reviews in health and social care. But other registers exist, such as those found at the Joanna Briggs Institute, the Cochrane database, and the Campbell collaboration. Registering protocols is increasingly being recognized as best practice. Prospero has grown considerably since launching in 2011 and now contains over 10,000 protocols. And sources on protocols are listed here. Thank you for listening, and you will hear from me again in another module later in the course.